Nintendo will bring another franchise to smartphones with the launch of Drive Mario World this summer. The news comes a day after the company chose to push back the launch of Mario Kart Tour for a few months in a bid to improve the quality of the mobile race. Drive Mario World will be developed and operated in partnership with Japanese tech company Line Corporation, and has been given an early summer 2019 release window. It will be the seventh mobile game Nintendo has worked on since 2016, following in the footsteps of Miitomo, Super Mario Run, Animal Crossing, Pocket Camp, Fire Emblem Heroes Dragalia Lost, and Mario Kart Tour. Is the game that you're working on got that general buggy feeling? Are you waiting for that polish period towards the end of major milestone? How did it get like this? And what is the general standard of your product on a day-to-day basis? Here are 5 signs that you are suffering from general quality fatigue, and some thoughts on remedies. Look around your team and ask yourself if there is anyone who embraces quality in the product's output beyond the minimal quality required for releasing. Individuals might take the quality of their own work seriously, but is there anyone looking at the big picture? This person may or may not be from the QA team, but a quality advocate will help with the prevention of issues and highlight risks a lot earlier in development. In the absence of such an individual, quality is seen as thing to be done in isolation, in advance of deadlines, and latent unknown issues can cripple a product before it gets out the door. So you have QA representation and a thinking job done on the quality front. What is your dev QA ratio? There is not a correct answer for that, as each product company is unique. I tend to say for 1, but if your development throughput does not match the QA capacity to process, either you are comprising your product quality and starting to acquire QA debt. This is not about moving jobs across a Scrum board and completing sprints. This is about the time and attention that both developers and QA can invest in the testing process. Have a think about that kind of issues you are looking to unearth and prevent. If you expect the product to stand up to some serious destructive testing, then make sure the QA team has the capacity to perform these tasks. You have got a QA team with a decent dev QA ratio, but how do your sprints typically end? Are you always reaching the ending across the board, or do you have a culture of assuming things are complete when work is actually marked as in test? Presuming quality is a flawed approach and easily exposed when stakeholders attempt to interact with a complete task. Find a problem and raise it. It's not worth rolling the dice, but equally, this approach also puts your QA team on the back foot, as there is inherent pressure to sign off, and there is greater resistance to fix any of those non-functionality issues. This normally results in testing being downgraded to tracking, and in the long term this contributes to a non-polished and awkward user experience of the product. Your team has the time it needs to test, but how does your quality advocates keep up with the ever-changing landscape of game development? Investing in tooling is a huge factor in the smooth delivery of a product and is often a multidisciplined approach. When it comes to QA-specific development tasks, do you find yourself asking the QA team to make its own tools? Small requests, like requesting debug cheat commands, can unlock a lot of QA time to focus on other tasks, but it's often seen as something the QA team should let themselves by learning other skills. The successful product will put these tasks into the backlog and assign them to the best person qualified to complete it, and not treat them as a side, nice-to-have project. And finally, Where exactly does QA lie in your corporate hierarchy? Are you positioning the quality advocates as an independent discipline? Or are they a subset of a subset within the company? Real and lasting quality can be derived in how the company treats, views and trusts their quality advocates, and is only as effective as the level they are allowed to operate within the business. Do not compromise your QA team's remit by putting them in a corporate corner. A good rule of thumb is being able to see if the leadership structure of your art design programming teams mirror with costs. Chinese regulators are slowly working their way through the backlog of game approval applications that piled up during the approval freeze that spanned most of 2018. For the first time in the month since the process started up again, the Chinese game giants Tencent and NetEase have had a handful of titles approved for release and monetization. Those approvals are good news for Tencent and those banking on the company to see their own titles eventually released in China. But, as noted by Nikkei, neither of Tencent's approved games are notably heavy hitters. More specifically, neither game is PUBG Mobile, a mobile title that launched midway through 2018 and has yet to be approved for monetization in China, thanks to last year's freeze. Tencent's two approvals include a game about making Chinese fans and a game about traditional wood carving, while NetEase's first approval is a Chinese history-inspired RPG called War Spring and Autumn. At this point, a little over 350 games have been seeking approval from Chinese regulators since the process reopened earlier this month. After a 9-month-long halt, the State Administration of Press and Publications, the government branch now tasked with overseeing that process, says it plans to work through games in the order the original applications were filed during last year's freeze. The South China Morning Press also reports that analysts expect to see the process speed up considerably after the Lunar New Year, which takes place on February 5th, and the National People's Congress in March. An in-game announcement has revealed more of Avengers Academy is being shut down by developer TinyCo at the end of 2018. Players will no longer be able to make purchases or download the title after the year had ended, although the game will still be available to play for existing owners until February 4th.
2019
TinyCo said it made the decision so it could focus on more innovative games, although the news comes shortly after its parent company Gamasutra was hit with layoffs. Gamasutra purchased TinyCo back in 2016, and has been in the headlines a lot recently, after striking up a development partnership with Disney and opening a new studio in Canada. Although the company has been expanding and signing new deals, it also laid off an unknown number of staff at the start of December, citing a need to reallocate resources to better support the goals of its global business. The 2019 Game Developers Conference has released the results of the 7th Annual State of the Industry Survey, revealing trends in the game industry ahead of GD 2019 in March. The survey compiles responses from nearly 4,000 game developers, and reflects that nearly half of game developers support game industry unionization, as well as uncertainty around Steam's revenue-sharing model, and insights into the amount of time developers have spent working overtime hours in so-called crunch. The State of the Industry Survey is the 7th entry in the ongoing series of yearly reports and serves as a snapshot of the game industry, illustrating industry trends ahead of DD 2019, organized by UBM The D2019 takes place March 18th-22 at the Moscone Convention Center in San Francisco, California. Nearly half of game industry professionals think game industry workers should unionize. Unionization is a hot topic in the game industry these days, and nearly half of the game industry professionals surveyed think it's a good idea. When asked whether they thought game industry workers should unionize, 47% said yes, 26% said maybe, 16% said no, and 11% said they did not know. However, when asked whether they think video game workers actually will unionize, only 21% said yes. The largest share, 39%, gave an uncertain, maybe. 25% of respondents said they do not think it will happen.